businesses don't fail for a lack of resources. They fail for a lack of resourcefulness. And that's the quality that I have really learned, is the resourcefulness part. So, if you don't have any money, if you don't have any people, whatever you're trying to do, just get as resourceful as possible. Get creative, get resourceful.
How's it going, everybody? Thanks for coming in, checking out VibeCheck. I think you guys are going to be pretty excited, learn a lot from this week's interview with Matt Oravetz. He's got a pretty cool story about how he went to school, wasn't entirely sure about what he wanted to do, decided to take some time off, started a couple companies. That's how he came around to Simply Made Salsa, which he's the co-founder and CEO of. So, really excited to bring you guys into the loop on this. I think each of you will be able to take a lesson away from what Matt has to say here in his story. So please check it out. Subscribe if you don't mind. Helps get the message of some of these entrepreneurs out. Trust the process, baby. All right, we're rolling. Okay, sweet. Well, thanks for joining me today. This is Matt Oravetz. We got founder and CEO of Simply Made. Thanks for joining us, Matt.
You got it.
Yeah, so let's jump right into it. I guess we'll start with a little bit of your background. So, give us a little bit about your background and what we need to know about you.
So, a little bit about me, the journey of pretty much how Simply Made got going. To start with it, I grew up cooking. My family were big cooks, so I was always in the culinary industry. It was always in the back of my mind. Really enjoyed it. Always done it. After my first year of college at FAU here in Boca Raton, ended up towards the end of my second semester, started to kind of there was nothing about school that I was really enjoying. I wasn't passionate about anything. I didn't really have any purpose. I was like, why am I going to school? I had no idea what I was going to do. I was like, you know what? I was just going to school because that's what everybody did. Right. Everybody just goes from high school, just transitions, goes into college, just what everybody does. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to do that. I'm like, I'm not going to waste my time here. So that summer, I ended up backpacking by myself through Central America. Spent almost 2 months doing it. Went through Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Panama, and just had an unreal experience. Just really opened my eyes, just getting out of our country. You know what I mean?
Right. And, no, that's sick.
So humbled the hell out of me. And it just opened me up to how much more there was, things I wanted to do. I loved traveling. I loved every bit about it. I mixed it in with a surf trip. I was like, I really want to keep this travel thing going. I love seeing new places. So something along that. So I was like, you know what? So during that trip, I decided, hey, I'm going to come back from this. And I was like, well, I'm going to break it to my folks that I'm leaving school, that I don't want to do it. And obviously they were just, everybody's like, what do you do? Well, all right. So there are two sides of it. Some were more, accepting of it or understanding, I guess I should say. But a lot of big outlash, backlash, I guess I should say. But yeah, it wasn't that good. What are you doing? You're an idiot. You're like, what are you going to do? How are you going to make a living?
Right, and you're definitely going to get a lot of that whenever you decide to make any type of change that's different than the beaten path that we're all going
Exactly. And so, it's just, you got to have faith in it, and I was just like, well, it's not what I want to do. I'm going to stick by my decision. I'm not going to let other people kind of run my life and decisions. I'm not going to go to school for somebody else. I'm going to go to school for me if I want to go to school, and then I'm going to leave for me if I want to leave. So obviously I got, when I was in school, obviously my folks were helping me out, financially, and, they're all just like, well, if you want to leave school, you got to figure it out. So ended up, I wanted to stay in South Florida, loved it. And so I got a job working on yachts. So I was like, what am I going to do? I want to travel, love the water. So I was, looking at things, flexible jobs, something I could travel with. And then it led me to just getting into the yachting industry. And so started doing that. And it ended up being not at all what I pictured. Ended up being nothing of it. Like, I'm heading there, and in my head, I'm like, huge, like mega yachts. I see, I see Matthew up at the front, maybe I'm cleaning the boat, but we're traveling to the Mediterranean, all this cool shit that I thought that I would be doing. And no, not at all. Ended up working for this company that just, the boss was a real hard ass. It wasn't a great environment. Very underpaid, I guess I should say. It actually got to the point to where I was pretty much living from couch to couch. If I wasn't sleeping on one of the boat's couches, then it was with a friend or something. I wasn't even making enough to have my own place. So pretty much got to a point where I was not liking it at all. I had learned a ton, everything. I wasn't just a mate, I did everything from the detailing to maintenance to repair. I knew everything about it. So I learned a ton, but it got to a point where I was like, I'm not enjoying this, having the whole, why God, moment. You were kind of leading me here. That was another decision that was a part of me leaving school, is that, I got really deep in my faith, and I just kind of felt like there was another path for me. And so ended up leading me there, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, look at the situation I'm in, all this stuff. And then it ends up that, because both my parents grew up in the sales industry and have read, some of the big books that we know about, greatest salesman in the world, Think and Grow Rich. And so I had a copy of it, and I started reading it. Then just going to Barnes and Noble, after work. And that's where I would hang out at, because I'd have nowhere to go. So I just hang out at Barnes and Noble reading these books. And like, it just started like motivating me. And I found out that through that I just had just an entrepreneurial spirit. And I was like, and my back was against the wall, and I was like, I got to do something about my situation. I was like, I got to do something about it. So then I started Sunrise Boat and Yacht Detailing down here. Took my knowledge. I was like, well, where am I right now? I'm in South Florida, and I just learned a bunch of stuff about boats and how to maintain them, take care of them, all the stuff. So I was like, well, let me do this. So I wrote down when I was doing this. So I wrote down, used all my money that I had to get the insurance, get it all started, whatever. And was like eating peanut butter and jelly. I was sacrificing everything, and wrote down every marina, every boat dealer, anything that I could try to get a contract with in order to secure a client that I could get, X amount of boats, rather than just going to a boat owner individually. Dude, had to have been like over 300 marinas and boat dealers.
Damn, son.
Every single one. After I'd work for that guy that I was doing boats with, and then right after, I'd work half days with him so that I could have some time in order to hit all these marinas before they closed. So taking even less of pay than I was doing before, just because, I was just having faith in it and it working. Living out of my car, I'd go shower at the outdoor pool shower at the resort, and go shower there, and then change clothes in my car to put on something decent, because I was getting all dirty and stuff, working the day on the boats, and, just being in engine rooms and all that stuff. and just the ultimate, just grinding it out, just doing what I had to do. No after no after no after no after no, every single day. Got constantly no's, no's, no's. All the way through, just kept persistent, went all the way to the end. The very last one in Miami, got the marina.
Let's go.
So got them, and then the guy was like, yeah, he was like, I love it. Let's get you on. They had like over 500 boats. I had a crew all set. I had guys ready to go to work for me. Like it was going to be, it would have been perfect. It would have been everything I needed. I would have made more than enough. Everything was going to be great. The next day, I go to that marina and I walk around passing out my business cards to all the people that are there by their boats saying, hey, I'm going to be your new detailer, meeting them, saying, give me a call if you need anything, da, 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 da. Ends up, next day I get a call. The guy I had talked to the day before, he was like, yeah, you were walking around, and he was like, you gave the owner of the marina one of your cards, and to him, he was like, I hadn't told him yet that I'd hired you. So to him, he thinks that you're some solicitor trying to just come in here and steal a bunch of his people because he doesn't know about you yet. Ruined it. I blew it for me.
No.
I blew it just trying to be, and dude, killed me.
Getting a little too aggressive with handing out the cards. A little too aggressive.
I guess, yeah, because I just thought, I was like, well, this is it. I didn't know. It was just, it was a coincidence that was like, he's never there too. It was such a terrible coincidence. So I end up, maybe a month or two go by, super bummed it didn't work out. And then I was like, you know what? Just one night I was like, I gotta do something else. It was like, if it's not this, I'm gonna do something else. So I'm jotting down different ideas, and my stepdad Carrie, his salsa was something that came to mind because growing up, everybody that ever tried it was like, this is unreal. You gotta jar it. This is the best salsa ever. Super unique. And I was like, huh. Maybe I can do something with this salsa. And so just ended up just following through with that, figuring out everything I needed to do, getting everything sent to me, got a storage unit, found a storage unit that I get the first 2 months free because I didn't have enough money to pay it, because I just blown all my money on trying to get Sunrise going. And so I sent all these supplies to that storage unit, and I was like, I was gonna, find a place to make it out of, all this stuff. And so that kind of started it. In the middle of the night. I would turn on all the power on one of the boats and be in the kitchen testing recipes and, trying to do my own little twist to it. If it's not that, I would drive over to my buddy's dorm tower community kitchen. They'd help me unload my stuff. I'd be cooking it up all day in there, just like being resourceful as possible. Like that was one of the biggest things that like I really focused on, was being resourceful when I had literally no resources, not even a freaking kitchen, nothing. So ended up doing that, got into some farmers markets down here, opened up a commercial kitchen, and and so after I did that and kind of going through the marketing of stuff with, trying to promote and grow and tell people about your business, I always said that, hey, I'd go back to school if I figured out what I actually wanted to do for it. And so I ended up choosing to go back to school after that time for marketing. I was like, I love marketing. I love everything about it. I want to learn more about it. I was like, that's what I want to do. So I ended up going back to school. And while I was in school, going full time, was renting out a commercial kitchen here in Boca. Partnered with a farm down in Homestead. So I'd drive down, go to class, drive down, get all my stuff, go to the commercial kitchen, blow it up in there. Had a couple guys helping me out, And yeah, ended up getting into the Yellow Green Farmers Market, which is the largest one down here. It's like the biggest one. A lot of big name brands come out of there. It's kind of like an incubator type thing, you know. Lots of distributors, investors, people come there just for brands trying to blow up. Ended up doing that for a couple months, and met with a distributor who's based out of Texas, and loved the product. Ended up bringing it out there. Opened up a manufacturing facility there. And so just been running out there, went in farmers markets there, then went into testing out in restaurants, different promotions with, you know, local businesses and different festivals, things like that. And then ended up getting into now about 8 different grocery stores there. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
so yeah, it's right now where it's at. You know, that's kind of the background. Now we're going to fast forward to where we're at today, doing everything remotely out of Texas. Everything's being sold there in the Midwest. And then now I'm just working on obtaining capital to do a national release.
Right.
Try to.
Yeah, I know we've talked about that a couple of times.
Yeah.
All right, so just to wrap that up, then, long story short, we got
Yeah.
We met in Williamsburg, played baseball together in middle school, and then so you went to Florida Atlantic down there, and then kind of couldn't really figure out what you wanted to do, it sounds like. So I mean, you were on a trip, where was it, Nicaragua or somewhere in the Caribbean?
I went through Costa, Nicaragua, and then a little bit of Panama.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And were you backpacking? I remember you were surfing, right?
Yep. Backpacking, surfing, just had a couple things. And then the following summer, I ended up going to Peru and Ecuador as well. It's become like a new thing I do every summer.
Dude, that's awesome. I'll have to tag along this summer.
Yeah, dude, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Actually, this summer, I'm thinking of going and, of course, whatever happens with this whole COVID stuff.
Right.
But I'm trying to go and I found this really, really awesome 10-day climb in Patagonia.
Dang.
In Chile. That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome. My brother went to Patagonia and Machu Picchu.
Yep. That's what I did in Peru. I did Salcantay, a 5-day trek that leads you to where Machu Picchu is. It was awesome.
That's sick. So nice. So yeah, you wanted to take an alternative route though. That's cool. Wanted to try something out. Knew that you were a little bit entrepreneurial. Wanted to give it a shot.
Yeah. And you got nothing to lose. That's another way I looked at it. I looked at it like, hey, at the time I was 18, 19. I was like, I'm so freaking young. Even if I ended up wanting to come back to school, or if I ended up not going back, or if whatever I was going to try to do didn't work out, I mean, I'm so young. I've got all the time in the world, and I've got more than enough time to fail at a bunch of stuff. So might as well give it a shot.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then in that process, though, you kind of realized that marketing was super important for just, creating a brand and creating brand awareness and that platform. So that's awesome. It's cool to hear some of what you're learning with your distribution system, as well as question for you. So you said this was your dad's recipe, right?
Yep.
So you kind of messed with it a little bit, and now are you licensing out this recipe to a manufacturer in Texas? That's what you were referring to?
Well, no, because I rented out the building. I paid for the equipment. I outfitted it myself instead of outsourcing.
Okay.
Yep. So, I mean, really, it's just I signed a non-disclosure with my distributor, and then he has his employees there at the facility that make it, sign the same thing. So it's kind of all in the same family. I don't really outsource it. So yeah, everything stays in-house.
Nice. So manufactured in Texas, where's it distributed? Where's your hottest marketplace for it right now?
Hottest is definitely, I mean, Dallas, 100%.
Dallas.
Dallas, big city. Yep. Central Market is a pretty big chain out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've been the biggest client for me.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
But yeah, Dallas. They love salsa out there.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're in a few grocery stores, it sounds like. What are some of those grocery stores?
Yeah. So Central Market's the big one. There's a couple other small kind of local ones. Central Market is definitely the biggest because it's in 4 of their stores. Time, like the herb,
Mm-hmm.
Time's one of them. I think a Safeway. Um, so it's a couple of those. Really, the biggest one that I focus on is, my distributor. He kind of does the hands-on stuff. I'm always trying to secure some new larger stores. That's why I say, as I'm trying to expand nationally, I kind of stopped focusing locally on building more clients there. I kind of got us into Central Market, which was kind of my focus because that was the biggest one, um, almost like a Whole Foods there. And so I was like, I want to get in here, try to get some proven track record at that store, kind of give me some, you know, little credibility, I guess I could say, as I'm trying to expand and come to, say a larger national brand like a Fresh Market. Fresh Market's national, they're everywhere. They've got thousands of stores. That's one of my biggest goals there.
Right. So 2 questions for you. So how many states are you in for like your customers? But then also, do you think that it might be advantageous to kind of dominate a couple areas while expanding, or are you kind of just seeing where the growth is happening, like where the demand is, and then you're kind of catering towards it?
Really Texas. That's the biggest one. Of course, I'm going to stay there and keep hitting it, but if I can grow, why not grow? Especially because it's a fresh salsa. So to kind of the logistics of all of it, it's not a canned salsa. So when you're jarring salsa, it's heat pasteurization, which kills the bacteria. In order to seal it, you water bath it, and the heat is what seals it and kills bacteria, which makes it able to sit, for 6 to 8 months, almost a year before opening it.
Right.
And then, because my whole idea, Simply Made, it's a specialty foods brand. Highest quality ingredients. I don't want to add a bunch of BS into it. I don't even want citric acid in it, which is like a naturally occurring preservative that lots of companies use. Any company, even Garden Fresh Gourmet does, who's my only competitor in terms of national, a national salsa product that's refrigerated. They're really the only ones that's done it. So
what about like taste?
So they're jarred.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in terms of fresh salsa, refrigerated. I wanted, because testing the recipe, I was like, this is changing the taste. It's I had to keep it fresh. So if you're going to grow, if you're going to go into a grocery store, you're going to expand it all. I gotta extend the shelf life. But how am I going to do that if I want to keep it fresh? That's how I stumbled upon high pressure processing, which is this new technology in manufacturing that uses, in cold water, you use a certain kind of container that can withstand it, and it keeps it in cold water and super high pressure, so it like squeezes the bacteria that causes food to spoil. It kills it while keeping it fresh. You don't have to add anything. Still extend the shelf life, so that really saved me a ton.
Extended shelf life's a big perk of that, obviously.
You got to. You can't have, I got it on its own to about 2 weeks, but if I'm going to expand, if I'm going to be in grocery stores at all, it's got to be able to be made, distributed, sit on the shelf, and for someone to buy it in time and not go bad on them. So it's extended it to 6 to 8 months for the shelf life,
right?
Which is phenomenal. Yeah.
No, I know I told you this, but I should line you up with a conversation with one of my older brothers who is in plastic packaging sales. And he could definitely at least talk through some strategy with you.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that's that conversation right there is right up his alley. But
Yeah.
cool, dude. So awesome. Sounds like you really have like it together with Simply Made and for right now. But so what are some of your goals going forward here with it then?
Goals right now. So I'm trying to, I've got two sides. I've got one where I can try to give up some equity for the cash that I need to expand, larger facility, more distribution, bigger equipment, whole 9 yards. I need to do that, or I can just keep trying to do what I do and slowly build up enough cash flow and funds that I can fund it myself.
Right.
So I'm kind of going between the two. I mean, my goal is that it's by the end of this coming year that I would like to have something secured and start the process of trying to go larger, whether it's more regional or if I can get to, a national stage, perfect. Doing that, trying to work on another goal that I've had by this year is to ship online, shipping a fresh product online, which is no one's done it because shipping would be so much for you to 2-day it since it's refrigerated, to keep it refrigerated with the packaging and everything. Cost you like $25 to have, my salsa shipped to you. Nobody's going to pay $25 for some salsa. So I'm trying to come up with I'm working with this packaging company to design a ground shipping package. I can ship it ground, which keeps the cost down for you buying it and not having to 2-day it with having a thick enough insulation. So working on that. That's another goal, is to try to go online with it. Just trying to grow. And then something I'm doing kind of short term, at least here, since I've been, running it remotely out of Texas. Around here, I'm trying to start up a Simply Made food truck. So that's the newest extension of the brand, is doing a Simply Made food truck specializing in tacos.
Some tacos.
Super authentic street style tacos, carne asada, some carnitas, kind of fish. You're doing something real good, high quality, simple, really, really good tacos. And that's it, limited menu, perfect it. That's what I've been working on for a while. I make a damn good taco. Another goal of mine is to open up a restaurant eventually. Like I want to open up my own restaurant. So this is kind of the prequel to that. I open up a food truck. It's like a mini restaurant, So it's going to give me good practice with kind of that style of an operation, So yeah, food truck would be awesome. Give me something to do while I'm here. Yeah.
But what are sales like?
Sales, so they've gone down a little bit since COVID became. Since people are a little more panicky and shopping for certain things, but they're pretty steadily around the 4,000 to 5,000 a month in sales.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. How do you? And this is going to be a different conversation that actually I'll ask you when we finish up this interview.
All right.
Because I'm trying to, we're working on trying to get our product out to the marketplace here. So
yeah,
I want to pick your brain in a second. But okay, sweet, dude. Sounds like Simply Made's on a good path though. That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
I mean, sounds like you have your suppliers set up, I guess your distribution as well.
Yep.
And now you're getting some contracts with some other some new channels with different supermarkets. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, all right. So we'll wrap up. I just got like one more question here. But what do you view as success?
Oof, that's a good one. What do I view as success? Well, I guess there's different ways of looking at it. Success for me is not really having to rely on anyone and just doing everything myself. I mean, I kind of have a skewed perception of it because I just like to be independent and self-sufficient. And so, I mean, of course, there's a monetary value that I have on success as far as the business. But at the same time, even when I'd reach it, it's, that really can't be the success because I always want more. Everybody always wants more. Never really be satisfied with enough. So it can't be monetary, but success would just be, I guess, I mean, obviously happiness, being happy with what I've done, making a good contribution. I'd like to do some things with Simply Made to kind of help out and do some things. I'd like to do some good for the world with it and just get it. My whole goal with it is to grow it to such a freaking massive brand that's everywhere, recognizable, and that I can just use that platform for some good. So, I mean, I pretty much would say that as success, doing what I'm supposed to do, doing whatever the heck I'm here to be on earth to do.
Mm-hmm.
Try to give back, got to give glory to the man upstairs. I mean, that's success. So, yeah.
Well, that kind of ties into my last question here is, I know you're a man of your faith. So what do you view as your purpose?
My purpose? To help others. Help and encourage others.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
I think encouragement is probably the biggest one. Encourage other people to do, to follow their passions and just the things that they're good at and their dreams, but not to be a cliche like it, but to actually, and to have a way to show them that it is possible that, you can do it, and just encourage people to do that thing and not just fall into, the patterns of this world, but to kind of stand out and, encourage people to do what they're supposed to be doing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, dude. Thanks for joining. Anything else that you want to touch on? Any last points? Maybe any advice to anyone that's listening who might be interested in getting into some entrepreneurial ventures?
So we talked about this before we started, which was a bit of advice that always spoke to me, that I always stuck with, that I still do, and especially in the startup in the very beginning, is businesses, I guess if we're talking business and just wanting to start something, businesses don't fail for a lack of resources. They fail for a lack of resourcefulness. And that's the quality that I have really learned, is the resourcefulness part. So, if you don't have any money, if you don't have any people, whatever you're trying to do, just get as resourceful as possible. Get creative, get resourceful. Yeah.
Well, thanks for the words of wisdom, my man. We appreciate it.
Yeah.